So it's Mercury retrograde, and retrograde is retrograding, and I've been having a weird time with it. And sometimes I gotta say, it really takes me over. And what I'm glad about this time is that I'm not just exclusively experiencing anger, because to me that means I've grown emotionally as a person. And if you know anything about me, anger is like my number one emotion. Anger and sadness, anger and sadness. So today what I want to talk about is my feelings during this retrograde so far, and particularly in these last 2 days. I'm an air sign. I am actually all air. My ascendant, my moon, and my sun are all in the air. And it makes things exciting and not as challenging. Like, I actually feel like it makes moving through life a lot easier because I have cardinal, mutable, and fixed all dominating these three aspects of my personality. But I'm feeling a lot of guilt today because I had these intentions to go hang flyers up, and I have been really nervous about hanging flyers up because it feels really vulnerable to me, and I both like being on display and don't like being on display. It's this really weird thing that I have going on, and I really need to put myself out there if I want my business to make it, because the internet is not forever, and it actually doesn't help you unless you were already famous to begin with. And I am not. We both know this. So I thought about guilt. I'm thinking about guilt a lot, and it's not helpful because the guilt is making me feel really like small and ashamed and kind of stupid, and I don't know if I actually needed rest today or if I slept for 2 hours in the middle of the day for no reason, and I feel like I did it as an act of self-sabotaging because I was felt weird about how I reacted with yesterday's Mercury retrograde situation that I just was just like, why don't I fuck today off too and just really hit home not doing anything to move yourself forward. And I got a general reading about what air signs can do to move themselves forward in this retrograde, and the thing that they need to be focusing on right now is relationships. And your relationship with yourself mirrors the relationship that you have with other people. So what am I doing that's not showing up for myself that can be reflected in not showing up for other people? And what that really is accountability and following through on doing things that I would say I would do. So for my business, it's fucking hanging up these flyers, which I love these flyers. They're so beautiful. It really represents my business and how I feel about myself, and I really want them out there. But the step of showing myself to people, which is what the flyer is, and being like, hey girl, I run this business, may I put a flyer up in your coffee shop, seems terrifying. And now I have all this guilt about not doing what I said I was going to do today. And sometimes I'm not the person that you can count on. Sometimes I'm flaky, and I use my aloof airs as a Gemini as a means to keep people at a distance. And so am I keeping my dreams at a distance by being aloof with them because I'm afraid of what would happen if I was actually letting my walls down and just, being a person and living up to my own expectations of myself? And I don't even think expectations is the right word, but actually, like, I'm both afraid of success and afraid of failure. So I am like in the middle, and I'm ready to go there, but I still haven't gone there. And I am afraid that, like, once I put the flyers up, it's not going to be what I want anymore. Maybe I don't want to do Reiki anymore. Maybe I don't want to do tarot anymore. Maybe I don't want to be a coach anymore. Maybe I don't want to do sound healing. Maybe these are just things that I think I want for myself because that's what I set up my business as. And like, once I put the flyers up and start getting phone calls, is that like what will happen? It will either go really well or it will go really poorly. And I've been so afraid of finding out the answer. And so today, I really felt like I self-sabotaged, and I'm feeling so guilty about it. So I want to talk about my book, Chakra Healing for Your Inner Child. This is my favorite thing that I've ever done for myself. And talk about the sacral chakra, which is your second chakra. It's represented by the color orange. Okay. It's also ruled by it's also ruled by Mercury. Okay, so let's talk about that. So guilt is the lower vibrational emotion of the sacral chakra. Guilt has its place when it aligns with empathy. Feeling guilty for hurting our friends' feelings or when we steal from a store is only natural. Where the problem arises is when guilt inhibits making everyday decisions. Guilt that causes one to be paralyzed and unable to seek their desires is the crippling side effect of guilt. And that's where I am today. Growing up, if home life emphasizes denial of natural emotions, desires, and needs such as sexuality, hunger, play, emotional expression, any expression of those natural functions will cause guilt. This binds our thinking into a standstill, creating a black and white world. This is where the saying, analysis paralysis, comes into play. When one is forced into black and white thinking, guilt pops up in the inability to come to a complete one-sided decision. However, life is all about living in the gray area, and guilt makes it impossible to make decisions in the gray area. It also relinquishes normal human desires and needs to the shadow side. Suppression and guilt for being a normal human being interplay and create a standstill in problem solving and acting. When the shadow side engulfs most of our desires, we will find it hard to be authentic. There is pressure to act as a perfect human being, not letting emotions get the best of us, and not allowing for desires to overtake us. The cycle creates judgment and jealousy of those who act in a way that we wish we could. The behaviors and desires we relinquish to our shadow can include anything from eating dessert to showing public displays of affection. So for me, after I rambled for 4.5 minutes, I'm feeling guilty because I had the expectation that things were going to go a lot differently yesterday, and they just didn't. And I didn't have any control of that, and I tried to have a very different attitude about it, but I really feel like I ended up acting childishly, and I feel really guilty about acting childishly because I thought that I was like past being triggered into like not getting what I want and then acting like a child because of that, because that's a chakra imbalance symptom. And then today I'm feeling really guilty because I didn't keep my word to myself and I slept for 2 hours for an undefinable reason. I don't know why I was so tired yesterday. I did the same thing in the middle of the day, and then today I did the same thing but for a longer amount of time. And I'm feeling guilty because I didn't keep my word to myself to go out and hang up my flyers, and I'm feeling guilty because yesterday I acted like a child, and so today I have the impression that I also acted like a child by staying in bed and sleeping for 2 hours in the middle of the day. And where does black and white thinking fit into this? Because that's really the point, right? The black and white thinking is I was supposed to go out and do this, I didn't do it, and therefore I'm a child. That's my thinking. There's no grace. I'm not giving myself any grace to be a human. I'm not saying, Angelina, maybe you were tired and you just needed to rest. Or Angelina, maybe you were having a weird mental situation going on, and the pressure that you're putting on yourself to be this perfect businesswoman, this perfect person who isn't afraid of life, even though they are afraid of life, is part of the problem and why you haven't been able to make forward momentum. Maybe those are some things. So that's how retrograde is going for me. I'm feeling really fucking weird about everything. I really want to be the best version of myself all the time, and that seems like black and white thinking. So I'm going to work on that. And I would love for you to share with me what you're working on during retrograde. And if you need some further support, I urge you to get my book, Chakra Healing for Your Inner Child. It's on Amazon. You gotta search for the whole title, Chakra Healing for Your Inner Child. It's by me, Angelina Pastore. I'm your authenticity witch, and I'm here to help.